What's up, all my movie-loving maniacs? This is your boy Bankful B of the Lassiter Factor, and I thought I'd end my last bit of Spider-Man coverage by giving you my ranking of every theatrically released Spider-Man movie from the worst to the best. Now, starting from the beginning of the year to now, I periodically rewatched every single live-action Spider-Man movie. I did not go back and watch the Spider-Verse movies, which are the animated movies. I'm saving those for next year for when Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out. But those movies are still fresh in my mind enough that I feel confident about where I rank those versus all the live action stuff. After rewatching them, it was pretty fun rewatching them, not just for nostalgic reasons, but just fun going back and picking what I love about these movies, what I don't like about these movies. But generally speaking, I don't hate any of these movies, but there are some that I like more than others. But enough of me babbling, let's get into it. Coming in last place, and probably for the foreseeable future, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is Andrew Garfield's second movie. And look, like I said, I don't hate any of these movies, especially this one. There are things I like about it. The suit is probably one of the best I've seen in any Spider-Man movie. Andrew Garfield still kicks ass as Spider-Man, not so much Peter Parker. His chemistry with Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy is pitch perfect, but that's case in point to the fact that they were dating at the time. This movie does have some of my favorite Spider-Man action. I do like the one scene where Sally Field as Aunt May is breaking down to Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. And then, of course, the Gwen Stacy death. All that is good. My real problems with this movie is that it's overstuffed. There's too much going on. Sony was clearly trying to set up a Sinister Six movie with this one. I did enjoy Jamie Foxx as Electro, but not so much as Max Dillon. The Green Goblin in this movie, whack. The mechanized Rhino in this movie, whack. This movie did have a lot of good things going for it, but when it's all said and done, this movie is just an example of wasted potential. Coming in at number 10 is Spider-Man 3, which I also think is an example of wasted potential. All the problems I had with The Amazing Spider-Man 2, it's also in this movie as well, though I do have a place in my heart for this movie than I do The Amazing Spider-Man 2, more so for nostalgic reasons. I'm all for a black suited Spider-Man, but what it made Spider-Man and Peter Parker do, I'm just not completely on board with. Bully Maguire is funny, but still. I do like Harry Osborn as the new Goblin. I even like the Sandman in this movie, but the way they handled Venom in this movie was egregious. Too many plots, too many villains, too much going on in this movie, but I'll always have a nostalgic place in my heart for this movie. At number 9 is Spider-Man Far From Home, which I did like when it first came out, but watching it years removed from that movie, my liking for this movie has kind of gone down, but I still like it. I do enjoy seeing Spider-Man out of his element by going on a high school field trip overseas. Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio was so damn good. I loved all the allusions within this movie. This movie did set up the events of No Way Home, and it is basically basically the aftermath of Endgame. But to me, this still feels like an MCU movie than a Spider-Man movie, and then handing off billion-dollar equipment to a teenager, which he uses to almost murder somebody. Yeah, that doesn't quite hold up with me. At least with me, it doesn't quite sit well with me. At number 8 is the first Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, and basically all the praises I have for this movie are about the same for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Andrew Garfield, greatest Spider-Man, not so much Peter Parker. I'm not really a fan of cool Peter Parker. He's just too cool to be Peter Parker for me. I did enjoy the chemistry he had with Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. I don't even hate all the lizard stuff. I just think it's just a little bit overcooked, but that's due in fact that there was a lot left on the cutting room floor of this movie. This movie did give us some decent Spider-Man action, particularly between Spider-Man and the Lizard when they're fighting in the school. When this movie was first announced, I wasn't happy at the fact that they were rebooting Spider-Man in terms of movies, but now that we're about 14 years removed from this, I made my peace with it. There's a lot of things I can still enjoy about this movie, and like I said, Andrew Garfield, greatest Spider-Man, not so much Peter Parker, at least in my opinion. At number 7 is Spider-Man Homecoming, which for a long time I like but didn't quite love, but rewatching, especially with the benefit of hindsight of everything that came after this, I've also made my peace with this. For a long time, I just wasn't really a huge fan of this movie because we're going back to high school Peter Parker, which is a good idea in its own right. But same thing I had with Spider-Man Far From Home. I just feel like this is more so an MCU movie than it is a Spider-Man movie, and that's due in fact with Iron Man. I did like all the Vulture stuff. Michael Keaton is great as the character. But 9 years removed from this movie, I've made my peace with this. I understand what they were going for this. It was basically like a high school comedy that just happened to have Spider Man in it. At number 6 is Spider Man Brand New Day, which might be a hot take for a lot of people right now, and understandably so. It's just the movie that I rank above this. I just happen to like that just a little bit more, due to the fact that we've had a little bit more time with it. But as for this movie, of course, this is one of the best Spider Man movies we've had in a long time. This, to me, this is the first Tom Holland Spider Man movie that actually felt like a Spider Man story instead of an MCU story. At number 5, Spider-Man No Way Home. Sorry, bruh, but I'm gonna have to let nostalgia win on this one. And yes, this movie is basically a fan service type movie, a nostalgia bait type movie, but to me, they used all that to pretty much tell an effective Spider-Man story with this one, because by the end, we finally got the Spider-Man that we've all waited for, and even still, I feel like this is the first movie where I felt we saw Tom Holland's Spider-Man actually suffer. He lost Aunt May. The events of Far From Home left the world knowing who Peter Parker is, which is Spider-Man. And then by the end of this movie, nobody knows who Spider-Man is. He's all alone. And then, of course, all the multiverse stuff with the previous Spider-Man and all their villains, all that just touched me. Just Spider-Man Brand New Day is the best of the Tom Holland movies for sure, but personally, No Way Home just hit me for nostalgia, but also just as an effective Spider-Man story. Even if the setup for this movie was a little hokey. Again, at number 4 is the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. I fucking love this movie. This movie means so much to me. It's one of the movies that inspired me to get into filmmaking. One of my best memories of my late father was when he took me to a midnight showing of this movie on premiere weekend. That is a core memory of mine, and just this whole era of Spider-Man movies, you just had to be there. But on top of all that, they still gave us not just a good Spider-Man movie, but a solid Spider-Man origin story with some great performances, particularly Tobey Maguire. I always thought he was the best Peter Parker. And then you got Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin. This movie is, for me, what Superman from the 70s or even Batman 89 is for people of that particular generation. Number 3, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The first of these animated Spider-Man movies. I mean, Miles Morales, the different Spider-Men from different multiverses, and the animation alone is enough for this movie to clock in at number 3 for me. At number 2, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. All the reasons I gave for Into the Spider-Verse are about the same for Across the Spider-Verse, but better. Just better animation, different animation for different characters within this movie. I love what they did with Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy in this movie, and the cliffhanger. Not since a sequel left me on such a cliffhanger since movies like The Empire Strikes Back or Infinity War. Like, this to me is what a sequel should do. Just leave me hanging and then just be in total anticipation for the final movie. I guess it's going to be the final movie. But of course, at number 1 is Spider-Man 2, which is number 1 for a lot of people, and understandably so. To me, this is the absolute best Spider-Man movie because it was basically a character study about Peter Parker struggling with his double life, and then Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. Is it the predictable choice for number 1? Yes, but it's the right choice for number 1, at least for me. So that's my ranking of every theatrically released Spider-Man movie. Here's a quick recap. You can check it out on my Letterboxd. Thank y'all so much for watching. Do you agree with this ranking? Do you disagree? How do you rank every theatrically released Spider-Man movie? Let me know in the comments section below. I can't wait to do this again next summer when Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out. This is your boy Bankful B of the Lassiter Factor. Stay safe, wash your hands, peace.